The movie starts with something being thrown into the sea, setting a mysterious tone. We meet Kelly, a 17-year-old who loves her family deeply. Her dad, James, is a widower, and her younger sister, Abby, looks up to her. The three of them are tight-knit, spending time watching movies and playing games together. Kelly has taken on the role of the mom in the house, waking up early to make breakfast and taking care of everyone's needs, just like her late mother used to do. One morning, as they eat breakfast, Kelly notices her dad hesitating to say something. She already knows what's coming and tells him it's okay. James reveals that his girlfriend, Robin, will be moving in with them in a week. He wants his girls to be happy about it. Abby, being a kid, is excited, but Kelly isn't thrilled. She admits she'd be fine with anyone else except Robin, which stings James a bit. Still, he tries to convince Kelly that Robin will help lighten her load and even be like a mom and friend to them. Reluctantly, Kelly agrees. Later, James meets Robin and tells her about the conversation. He's excited, but Robin is nervous, knowing it won't be easy for a 17-year-old to accept her. James reassures her, saying his girls are happy and looking forward to her arrival. This makes Robin feel better, and she's ready to make the move. That night, Kelly can't sleep and hears noises from Abby's room. She finds Abby talking to the wall, apparently to an imaginary friend. Kelly thinks it's strange since Abby's too old for that. Abby says she's scared, but doesn't know why. Kelly brushes it off as imagination and stays with her until she falls asleep. When Robin moves in, Kelly and Abby welcome her warmly. Robin thanks them for their kindness, and Abby even calls her mom, but Kelly keeps her distance. James starts packing up his late wife's things, which makes Abby sad. To comfort her, James suggests she keep some of her mom's stuff in her room, which cheers Abby up. Kelly finds her mom's old necklace and a photo in one of the boxes. Seeing the photo makes her emotional, and she silently promises her mom to keep the family happy and safe. Back in the living room, Kelly tells Robin that if she ever needs help with Abby, she should ask her. It sounds helpful, but there's a hint of sarcasm in her tone. Robin notices but lets it slide. During dinner, Kelly and Robin see Abby talking to herself again. Kelly asks what she's doing, but Abby just stares and goes back to her imaginary conversation. They assume it's normal for her age and continue preparing dinner. Robin accidentally scatters sesame seeds on Kelly's steak, which annoys Kelly. When they toast to their new beginning, Kelly clinks her glass too hard, breaking Robin's glass and cutting her hand. Kelly rushes to get paper towels, but she seems unfazed by the accident. Later, as Kelly stares at herself in the mirror, she notices a shadow near the window. It's her boyfriend, Todd, who sneaks in every Tuesday when her dad's not home. This time, though, James is there. Todd tries to get close to Kelly, but she stops him, saying her family comes first. Meanwhile, Robin feels guilty about the dinner incident and blames herself. That night, Abby's window slams shut on its own, scaring her. Kelly and James rush to her room, and James checks the window, blaming the wind. Robin, standing outside, sees one of Kelly's trophies move on its own, but doesn't say anything. James finally notices Todd and tells him to leave. Kelly helps Abby fall asleep with a lullaby while Robin watches them with concern. The next morning, Robin makes breakfast, which Abby loves. Kelly doesn't say much, even though it was her routine. At the table, Abby says the window didn't close on its own. It was her mom. Robin looks worried, but Kelly reminds Abby their mom is gone and ghosts aren't real. Robin tries to lighten the mood by thanking their mom, but Kelly pulls her hand away, insisting they're just talking to the walls. James suggests Kelly spend more time with Robin to make her feel welcome. Kelly agrees reluctantly and helps Robin sell some old stuff. Their grandfather shows up and is wary of Robin at first. While sorting through things, Robin finds Kelly's mom's necklace and tries to sell it, not realizing its significance. Kelly gets upset, and Robin apologizes. The grandfather suggests Kelly wear the necklace, but she takes it off as soon as she gets home and throws it in a drawer. The next day, Kelly gets a call from Abby's school and rushes over, only to find out Robin has already picked her up. This makes Kelly furious. Robin was handling all the responsibilities at home that belonged only to Kelly, and she made sure to keep things together for everyone. One evening, as the house grew quiet, Robin told Abby that she used to get bullied too, just like Abby, and that was why they needed to stick together. Abby, feeling a little comforted by Robin's gentle words, finally let her guard down. With a soft smile, Robin handed her a small box containing a faded picture of their late mom and even a single strand of her hair. Robin explained that she wasn't trying to replace their mom. She just didn't want them to forget her. Abby stared into nothingness for a moment before nodding and giving Robin a big bear hug. Later that night, when Kelly returned home, she confronted Robin about giving the box to Abby. Robin calmly reminded her that she and their dad had already talked about it. Hearing this, Kelly quieted down a bit. Deep down, she knew that if Dad was on board, there was no arguing. Still, Kelly admitted that her outburst came from missing Mom terribly. Those old memories were just too powerful. In another room, their dad, James, thanked Robin for handling his daughters so maturely. He recalled how, just days before his wife Lexi passed away, she had sunk into a deep depression, leaving him with a haunting suspicion that she carried a heavy secret, a secret that might have contributed to her untimely end. That same night, as Abby lay in bed, the closet door creaked open on its own. Invisible fingers seemed to stroke her back, and for a moment, she thought it was Kelly. But when she turned around, there was no one there. Instead, her eyes landed on something in the corner, and in a whisper that sounded like "Mom," she froze. In Kelly's room, sleep proved impossible, as an odd decorative piece made her uneasy. She covered it with a cloth and climbed into bed, only to hear strange noises coming from the drawer where she'd once stored Mom's necklace. The sound grew louder and louder, as if the necklace itself was begging to be released. Trembling, she opened the drawer to find the necklace lying there motionless. Confused, Kelly picked it up and stepped out of her room. As she moved down the hall, she heard clear voices, a man and a woman talking, but couldn't tell where they were coming from. In the eerie darkness, her cat suddenly leaped out, causing the necklace to slip from her grasp. Bending down to retrieve it, Kelly felt a presence passing silently behind her, and the motion of the necklace even made magazines on a nearby table flutter as if caught in a breeze. Before long, everything went quiet, and Kelly bumped into her father, who had been woken by the strange happenings. He quickly checked all the doors and windows and told her to do the same before heading back to his room. The next morning at breakfast, Kelly tried to explain everything to Todd. At first, he doubted her, but when he saw the seriousness in her eyes, he began to listen more carefully. That same night, as Kelly roamed the dark hallways of the house, her anxious cat led her to a room with a wet door handle. Inside, she discovered one of her trophies out of place and set it right. But then, as if nothing was normal, the wardrobe door behind her slowly creaked open, and trophies began tumbling down one by one, almost hitting her, while she clutched Mom's old necklace tightly. The strange occurrences all pointed back to that necklace, and Kelly grew convinced that someone, or something, was behind the door. When she flung it open, she found Abby waiting there. Abby looked around and whispered that it was their mom, because the spirit even hummed the lullaby that only Kelly and their mom knew. Kelly, however, didn't trust this mysterious presence and told Abby to stay away from it. Just then, James and Robin burst into the room. James accused Kelly of stirring up trouble to push Robin away and get all the attention for herself. Hurt by the accusation, Kelly tried to explain that this might be the same unsettling force that had troubled their mom. But James dismissed her worries as nonsense, convinced that Lexi had only been oppressed by her own demons, and left the room disappointed. Kelly was left alone with her frustration, unsure how to make her father understand her fears. At breakfast the next day, the tension at the table was almost tangible. Robin casually suggested that maybe what happened the night before had a simpler explanation, like the shelves not being able to hold the weight of Kelly's trophies. This only infuriated Kelly more, who stormed out early, leaving James and Abby to follow soon after. Robin was the only one left behind, quietly sipping water, when suddenly she felt something stuck in her throat. Alarmed, she reached in and pulled out a long string of thread. Although it was just a small piece, the sight sent a shiver down her spine. The next day at school, during a race, Kelly caught sight of a bloodied figure wrapped in plastic, standing in the stands with strange, pale eyes. She tripped, scraping her knee, but when she looked back up, the figure had vanished. In class, as a teacher explained Newton's law about objects at rest staying at rest unless acted on by a force, Kelly's mind raced. Could that same force be tied to the old necklace? Back at home, their grandfather visited Robin and apologized for his earlier harsh words. He admitted that he had always resented Robin ever since James and Lexi had met, but Robin assured him that James had asked her out only 3 years after the funeral. He warned her to be careful around Kelly, who always seemed to want to control everything, and Robin promised that with time, Kelly would learn to accept her presence. That night, Kelly set up heat monitors around the house, determined to catch a glimpse of the spirit. But despite the gadgets beeping at times, nothing conclusive happened. When Todd called to ask if she'd captured any evidence, Kelly hesitated. As she thought back on previous events, she realized that the only time the spirit had appeared was when the cat was involved. Desperate for answers, she went back inside and grabbed the cat, hoping to provoke the ghost. Instantly, the motion detector started going off as a white mist seemed to close in. The cat managed to slip away, and in a final act of defiance, Kelly grabbed the necklace and tried to toss it into the fire. That move only enraged the ghost. It slammed the shelves down, crushing the poor cat instantly. The following day, as Kelly was burying the cat, James asked what had happened. She tried to explain that a ghost was responsible, but he found it hard to believe. Worried now that the entity pretending to be their mom might hurt Abby, Kelly pressed on, desperate to protect her family. Feeling the weight of responsibility, James blamed himself for letting Kelly shoulder too much after their mom died. He declared that from now on, he would take care of everything so that Kelly could focus on herself. Kelly didn't say much as they worked together to dig the grave for their beloved pet. Later that night, when everyone else was asleep, Robin slipped into the shed where a box held Lexi's long-lost ring. She picked it up, lost in thought, until James crept up from behind and called her name. Without a word, as he drew near, Robin spun around and in a shocking moment stabbed him in the chest. In a jolt of terror, Kelly awoke in class screaming. It had all been just a nightmare. Shaken, she left the classroom and headed for her car when Todd stopped her. He began talking about totems, objects that could tether spirits to the world, and mentioned that Mom's old necklace might be one of them, though he had no idea how to get rid of it. Kelly's worry grew. She feared that the cursed necklace would hurt her family if she didn't find a way to destroy it. At home, after a long, restless day, Kelly stepped into the bathtub and pulled the plug, only to see that the water wouldn't drain properly. Something was blocking it, though she couldn't figure out what. Meanwhile, James washed his face and headed to bed, only to notice blood slowly dripping from the mirror, an omen that something terrible was about to happen. Just before falling asleep, Kelly took one last long look at the necklace, wondering if it really was a totem and how on earth she could destroy it. She drifted off, only to be woken in the middle of the night by strange whispers coming from the air vent. The voice was barely audible, but it sent chills down her spine. When she searched for the necklace, it had vanished, even though she was sure it had been there moments before. Robin wasn't spared from the eerie disturbances either. After washing her face in the bathroom, she caught a glimpse of her reflection in the mirror. Only it was distorted and horrifying, twisting her features into something unrecognizable. Terrified, she screamed, unable to understand what was happening. Frantically, Kelly ran to Abby's room and shook her awake, demanding to know where the necklace was. Abby refused at first, insisting that the spirit had taken it, saying that the woman who claimed to be their mom had wanted it for her own mysterious reasons. But Kelly wouldn't give up. She pressed Abby until, finally, Abby admitted that the necklace was on a table nearby. As soon as Kelly grabbed it, a furious white mist appeared behind the door. With a voice full of determination, Kelly told the spirit it couldn't have Abby. In a burst of anger, she broke the necklace. That was the last straw. The ghost lunged at Abby, trying to drag her into the darkness, but Kelly clutched Abby tightly, refusing to let go. At that very moment, James burst into the room and scooped Abby into his arms. The spirit, upon seeing James, recoiled and disappeared, as if it preferred to stay away from him. James, shaken, decided it was best to spend the night with their grandfather and quickly called him over. Not long after, Robin came running into the room, asking James if she should pack their things. Inside, Kelly takes Abby to her room and finds Todd sitting on her bed. He explains that he rushed over because he has new information about the totem, a special object that was very dear to someone when they were alive and that remains attached to them after death, binding their spirit to the real world. The only way to break this connection is to destroy the totem, although they still don't know what consequences that might bring. Kelly then walks outside and blames Robin for everything that has been happening to the family, insisting that it all started the day Robin came into their house, and ever since, their lives have worsened. Meanwhile, their grandfather is still shocked by the revelation that his daughter Lexi's presence lingers in the house. Despite warnings, he rushes inside, his breathing already compromised, and is forced to sit down and calm himself. In the midst of all this chaos, Abby mysteriously disappears, and they search everywhere for her without success. Kelly returns to her room where Todd is still waiting, and she hides him in her wardrobe, needing him to help destroy the totem. But first, they must find Abby. Telling Todd to wait, Kelly continues searching for Abby, who remains missing. While roaming the house, Kelly finds her grandfather in a room and tells him that the necklace was a gift from her late mother. Her grandfather reasons that if his daughter were present, Kelly would have been jealous of her, as she always had been. After this, he takes out his inhaler, but Kelly snatches it from his hands and empties it right in front of him. Shocked and betrayed, he gasps for air, and before he can form a sentence, he passes away. Back in Kelly's room, Robin finds Lexi's ring perfectly hidden beneath one of Kelly's trophies and confronts her. Kelly appears unaffected, while Robin is shocked that Kelly has kept the ring all these years without letting their father know. As Robin backs into the bathroom, Kelly coldly tells her that her mother wasn't suited for their father, and then shoves Robin into the bathtub. Robin hits her head, goes limp, and Kelly pushes her face under the water until blood from Robin's head mixes with the bathwater. Acting as though she's in distress, Kelly then strides into the room where Todd is hiding and tells him that the mysterious force attacked both her grandfather and Robin. Todd insists they leave immediately, but Kelly stops him. Her facade drops, and with a smile, she thanks him for being a good friend, only to grab one of her trophies and strike him across the head until he drops to the floor, blood pooling around him. She then reveals that she cannot be with him because she belongs to someone else. Later, Kelly takes Abby out of a secret hideout where she'd been keeping her all along. Abby has always obeyed Kelly's commands. They run to James, trying to escape the house, but James finds Todd lying in a pool of his blood. When he asks Kelly what happened, she lies, blaming their mother, but Abby unexpectedly reveals that it was Kelly who told her to hide, raising suspicion in James's mind. As he begins searching for Robin, Kelly knocks him unconscious and binds him to a chair. When he regains consciousness, he sees Kelly crushing the necklace. She tries once again to blame everything on Lexi, but James is no longer fooled. He realizes that when Robin moved in, Lexi was trying to protect them from Kelly, and now he understands that Kelly was the one who eliminated Lexi in her mind in order to protect the family. Desperately, he calls out Robin's name, hoping she might still be alive, but hears nothing. Suddenly, the particles inside the necklace begin to move rapidly and then abruptly stop. In the bathroom, Lexi's ghost reaches out to Robin, and as they come face to face, Robin suddenly opens her eyes from beneath the water. Kelly, who has always been strangely obsessed with James, gets uncomfortably close to him and tells him that she loves him. When Robin reappears and Abby rushes toward her for protection, Kelly feels betrayed by Abby and turns to James, asking if they will ever be together again. James, without mincing words, tells her that he never wants to see her again because she has destroyed everything. Enraged by his rejection, Kelly rushes toward James and the two fall, shattering a glass frame. Kelly glares menacingly at Robin before grabbing a shard of glass and attacking her. Robin moves backwards, but Kelly is relentless. She hurts herself in the leg and tells Robin that she will simply lie to the police, claiming it was self-defense, and they will believe her. However, before Kelly can attack further, James bursts into the room and orders her to stop. She breaks down, crying that he has replaced her, and turns to finish the job, only to see the disfigured face of her mother behind Robin. Terrified, Kelly stumbles backward and falls onto the same spiky decorative piece that had haunted her for so long. In the end, everyone stands in stunned silence, staring at Kelly's lifeless body. The family now lives in a mobile home, traveling wherever they choose. One day, Robin sees Abby talking to herself and asks who she is speaking to, but Abby assures her it's nothing serious, not like before. Yet, Abby still wears Lexi's ring around her neck, and as the movie draws to a close, she sings the same old lullaby that only her mother and Kelly once knew.